Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? It is Tuesday, the 17th of September. It's going to be interesting. It's going to get interesting. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the dollar index still sitting along that 100.55 support level. We have the Canadian CPI to be released, and we also have the US retail sales number to be looking at. So I think that volatility is going to come back. We're going to have some possible trade setups, and we'll look at them in this video. But first, all right. So again, if you are on the session, do drop a message and say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. I'd love to find out. And a big good morning, good afternoon to Jimmy and Diana. Hope you're doing well. For everyone else watching, I see a lot of you watching. Drop a message, say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. And we also have a new member, Anil Kumar, joining us in the community. So good to have you with us as well. Okay. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And then you can also help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. I've just done earlier today a video about the FOMC um, meeting in a couple of days, how to approach it, different methods to approach it. We'll go into more detail about it as it comes around, but you can check out the video in the channel as well. Okay. Hey, Booba. Good morning. How you doing? Now. Let's get into it. I forgot what I was gonna do. Okay, let's get into it. Um, Scroll back one. Yesterday, not a lot of news. Not a lot of news. Not a lot of news from yesterday. We did see the dollar continue to sit there a little bit. We saw prices rebound. So not much to talk about from yesterday. Today, we still have the Chinese on a bank holiday. It is Mid Autumn Festival, so a big happy Mid Autumn Festival to anyone celebrating the festival. We're eating mooncakes. We're walking around with lanterns. Kids are setting lanterns on fire. So that's all fun, good and fun. That's what I'll be doing later. So yeah, if anyone is celebrating, happy Mid Autumn Festival. Hey, Weston Music. Good morning. How you doing? Hey, Jew Mariners. Hey, Erwin. Hope you're well. Good morning. So that's happening now. Chinese Bank Holiday with the Mid Autumn Festival. We had a couple of news earlier. Well, just one earlier just then. Not much all the way through to tonight at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, where we do have the Canadian CPI, like I was just telling you, right? Canadian CPI to be released year on year, month on month. Now, if you look at this, Canadian CPI month to month 0.4, expected 0. Median CPI 2.4, 2.2, trimmed CPI 2.7, 2.5, common CPI not too bothered about that 2.2 to 2 point, staying at 2.2. So we are seeing possible slowdown in inflation growth for the Canadians again, right? Well, I say again, but if you look at the median CPI, it has been dropping. It has been dropping. Only in June it had a small increase, but throughout, if you look at that, it has been steadily slowing down. That kind of supports the idea where the Bank of Canada has been a bit more proactive with their interest rate cut decisions. We're seeing that with inflation growth slowing down, it warrants the interest rate cut so that it stimulates the economy a little bit more. So that is working out. I think that if we do see the Canadian CPI come out as expected or slightly lower, um, especially the median and the trimmed at 2.2 to 2.5. If we see it come out a little bit mm, lower, we might see. I'm just thinking that we might see some weakness come back into the CAD because that might again tell the BOC that we could cut rates a little bit more, right? I'm just why I hesitated because I'm just thinking that if it drops by too much, if it slows down by too much, remember that the central bank's target is 2 to 3%, right? They don't want it below too far below two as well, so they don't want it to drop by too much. So there's going to be at that point where they still need to cut rates because rates are still a little bit too high, but they want to cut rates and they still want this to fall without falling too much. So we want it about that 2% number. I think that one more rate cut and then a few more other policies will have to come into play. So we'll look into what could set up for the Canadian dollar later on. Through that, at the same time, at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we also have the US retail sales number. It was 1%. It's expected a minus 0.2%. Right? And if you look at it, it's been all over the place. US retail sales number has been a bit all over the place. Um, Last month it was a zero, got revised down to a minus 0.2, expected at 0.4, came out at 1. The July number was a 0.1, got revised up to 0.3, expected minus 0.3, came out at a 0. So it's all over the place. It's no major trend, and particularly for the number last month, right? For the number in August 15th, um, at 1%, when it got revised, when it was at a, oops, why is it not coming up? When it was a 0, and it got revised to a minus 0.2, and yet it got released at a 1%. It was, I couldn't kind of figure out why did it do that. Um, it wasn't, it wasn't a, what was it? What was the word? I forgot the word now. I was just thinking of that. It wasn't a, not festival, but it wasn't a period, a theme, right? Typically we'll see in December the retail sales number, or November, December retail sales number will peak a little bit. Even in January it'll go up, but in August it was just a bit weird to see that number jump. So it's all over the place. But now that it's at 1, or last month it's at 1, expecting a minus 0.2, we might see a bit of a weaker number here, which could pull the dollar down a little bit, right? But it's at that key support level. I don't think the dollar is ready to do anything too crazy because and we're all sitting around waiting for this news event on Thursday morning. um, for me, Thursday morning, right? Whether it's going to be a 25 basis point rate cut from 5.5 to 5.25, or whether it's going to be a 50 basis point rate cut from 5.5 to 5. So that's the big question mark. Now, I think that even with the retail sales number for the US, might have a little bit of a blip, but I don't think it's going to do too much unless it's a crazy change in the number, right? Unless it's a crazy change in number, but I don't think it's going to do too much, right? Apart from that, then tonight, not much else. Yeah, not much else through that. Okay, So going to be a little bit choppy, a little bit um, speculative for now. I do think that this news could bring about some volatility, but it might be a short term, quick couple of quick trades, maybe form a new level, and then we'll see what happens into tomorrow and the day after. All right. Hope that makes sense to you. Right. For now, my trades are very short term. I'm in the trade, out very quickly. I was just in and out of gold just before the session as well, as it came into the support and bounced. So very quick trade there. Um, with all that said, big good morning to Christina. How you doing? Hey Ayakame, how long? Long time no see. Good to see you again. I've just sent you the link. So anyone who is looking to join as an elite member, elite navigator for the member side of the community, the link is there. You can click on the link and join up. Okay, we do have a live stream coming up for all elite navigators for the FOMC at 2 a.m. my time. We have a live stream for the BOE rates decision on Thursday, and then the BOJ policy decision on Friday as well. So three private live streams this week. Okay. Now, with all that said, I think no big surprises here in terms of news. Yeah, no big surprises here in terms of news. So with that, then we'll look at the dollar index. Hey Lindy, how you doing? Okay, so here we are on the dollar index. You see that yesterday we were right at this point here. Right, we're right here at this point. It pushed down a little bit through the night. It came back up a little bit, and it sat right across. Right, it sat right across. So very consolidative on the dollar at this point. You see, this is a very strong level. So I'll take this away, and I'll put it back in here. Hey, Angel Case, how you doing? So that's what I don't need that for now. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at here on the dollar index. It's you look. I'll show it to you on H4 first, right? We don't need that. So dollar index pushed down, and even if I took this and dragged it right across 100.55 or dot 60 is right there, where the dollar index came down December last year, bounced right off, and again has been finding this level through end of August, early September, and now mid-September. All right, so it's been finding this area. It's just getting to that point where I'm being extra careful. Okay, back to the H1 time frame. What I mean by extra careful, oops, I'll move that. Where should it be? It's right there. So I've got this dotted line here just to highlight the FOMC rates decision. Okay, so dollar index is bouncing around here. If you look at it, here down, it's being held by this whole area like that. Right? So this whole area is holding the dollar to the along that support level. And you can see that happened the last time round as well. Right? The last time, so you can see that it bounced up, it held this level, it came back down. When it finally broke through, tested, and went up. It came down, tested, broke through, tested again, went back up. Again, tested this level, broke through, and it's just sitting in this area now. So now that's the crucial area. If we look at it, today being the 17th, dollar is ranging between 100.60 and 100.90. I'll put that in first, right? So it's ranging between those two levels. Um, hey, Angel Case, how you doing? Reynaldo says, I'm really interested to short Swiss franc. Dollar index makes me hesitate. It can break down before FOMC. Yeah. So I think that it's going to stay within this area. Any downside will be at 100.10. Let's see. Yeah, about there. I mean, you can even do a 100 down there. So now coming back to the current. Oops, where am I? Okay, there we are. It would be, it's hard. It's really hard right now. I think that dollar is ranging between this level, a break. What I anticipate is because we are on Tuesday right now, right? We're on Tuesday right now. We have retail sales number to be released. We have tomorrow. Then we have the FOMC. So there is still a relatively long period of time. So what looks like it could happen is something like bounce around here. No, I think that tonight's retail sales number could see it push down a little bit. I think that level will hold. Yeah, I think it's going to range between those two levels. So it's going to do that, 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 and then we look for it to on the news break, possibly to the downside, right? Especially if they do cut by 50 basis points. If they cut by 25, then we might see it bounce up towards that trend line. So for today, I still think that it's ranging between this 100.60 and 100.90 level. Nothing too exciting on the dollar. But that does not mean that we don't have other trades, because it looks like the other pairs are moving despite the dollar ranging, right? Despite how the dollar is ranging. So when we look at that, so now let's look at that. Right down, okay. I think that range makes sense. That's so those of you who like the pattern, you see that push down and it's ranging across. If it breaks that support, we have that big downside. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, so now with that, then we'll look at the Kiwi dollar first up. Okay, I was very keen on the Kiwi to the downside, but it looks like it's not going to go lower. Take that away, that did not trigger, right? And it's right up into that 50% retracement level. It's right up into that 50% retracement. That's broken. Take that away. 50% dotted line there. Take that away. We don't need 38.2 because that's done. So now with that, and you see that trend line pushing it up, we're looking for this to break to the upside on dollar weakness. So you'd be looking at 6215, 6220. I'll give it a bit more space. 6220, stop loss 25, take profit, you go up to 75, with a hesitation at about this point here in the middle, which I don't think is 61.8. 61 point is before that. I think it's going to come up to around that area. So what I think might happen is it'll do that, that, that. If we see that dollar weakness push it through, even without the dollar weakness, I think that, like I said, the major currency pairs are trading um, against the dollar and gaining against the dollar right now. Okay, so 6220.25 to 75. Firstly, let's put that. Buy at 0.6220, stop loss 25, take profit 75. And like I was saying yesterday, a hesitation at 6245. I don't think this. So Diana just asked, do you think this big move can happen today? I don't think this big move will happen today, unless we see that pop lower, right? I don't think. Okay, how do I say this? I don't think it will happen today, but um, if the retail sales number later tonight comes out at that minus 0.2 minus 0.3 number, we might see the dollar pop lower, so I might do that and then come back into the range. If that happens, then we might see it quickly go up and then come back down. I think that 55 would be 50 would be a good level even. Yeah, 50 might be a good level at this point. Let's do that, actually. Let's do that. Break up 50. I'm increasingly thinking that we're going to see not the fifth, not that one. Yeah, I'm increasingly thinking that we're going to see something like that, spike down and then a big push up. It could even come down to the point where, even with a 50 basis point rate cut from the Fed, they might just go, here, I've done 50, like we are talking about on Discord, right? Here, I've done 50, that's it, not going to do anything else. So it might do that kind of fashion, and then that might be a push right back up, something like that. All right, so I think that it would actually be quite interesting if that goes up. Maybe not entirely today, over the next 2 days, test that resistance, and then we see that come right back down. But we'll talk about that tomorrow and the day after. So that's the Kiwi dollar to the upside. I say, in my opinion, it won't. Yeah, I think that was a bit too optimistic. Hey Nwatuku, how you doing? Now with that, then the Aussie that again did not trigger, take that, trend line broken, take that away. That's holding all the way up. You have that point there. So 50% is broken, 61.8 is breaking, 6255. We get to that. 6255. 6255 is about that. Yeah, that point there. I think that it might pop out of this area, and then after that, hold. I don't think it's going to come back down unless the dollar gains that strength again. So yeah, it could push up to, I think 50 is reasonable. Okay. Then Aussie breaking up, pushing to the upside. I think this one you'll be looking at that. That one's holding. That's fine. That's pushing back up. No worries. Um, I don't want to do so. As much as we were talking about, could the Kiwi push up that much? I feel like the Aussie has that level there. Maybe a test bounce back up, but if you look at that, then you have a 6780 stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. You could do that, but I might want to see that test and reject back up. Okay, 67. Oops, let me do that. 6740 stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the upside. There we go. Then onto the Aussie Kiwi bounce. It didn't bounce down, but it's still holding the level. Looking like it might push down. Holding. Okay. That whole move down is where you would have your 50, 30, 50% level right up there. Um, Aussie, anticipating Kiwi to the upside, anticipating Aussie to the upside that might push this back down, because if the Kiwi pushes up, that's going to drag the Aussie Kiwi back down. You see that we have a little bit more space on the Kiwi compared to the Aussie. So Aussie Kiwi, you would be looking at, take that away. That trend line is fine. I would still say it's something like that. 1.0880 25 to 55. I don't like this in particular. I'm even thinking that I'm going to remove Aussie Kiwi and replace it with something else. It's just hasn't. It's just been too choppy, bouncing around. It's not a good H1 kind of setup analysis to look at. I think Aussie Kiwi will be something that you're going to look at on the H4 time frame. I think that makes more sense. So that's what I'll be looking at for the Aussie Kiwi. We might. What do you vote? Vote it. Put it into the chat. Vote, vote, vote. Let me know. Should we keep Aussie Kiwi as a pair to analyze? If not, what else should we look at? Okay. Euro Pound is my favorite. It's my favorite pair. I'm going to keep it. It's my new favorite pair. Or rather, I want to make it my favorite pair. So we're going to keep it there. Replace. What should we replace it with? What should we replace it with? Let me know. Okay. So I got one vote for no and Euro Pound to remove as well. Let me know what do you think we should change it with. Okay. So that's the Aussie Kiwi. Not too super there. Nothing exciting there. I think Kiwi and Aussie to the upside seems like it's developing. With that, then we look at the pound dollar. Pound dollar doing, I was going to say doing well, but that would be very, very pushing that line a lot, right? We were looking at this. I kept the stream on yesterday. I was waiting for it to push up. It took so long. Finally turned it off and it just crept to the upside. At this point, yes, I still do think that we're going to see a bit more upside. I see the TSRI MACD looking like it's trying to cross up, right? So, for example, you don't want to be looking at that. You don't want to be entering at that point because it's not ready yet. You'll be looking at like that where it's crossed or it's already formed that crossover. Then that's the kind of trade I'll be looking for. So now with that, I'll give it a little bit of space, give it a little bit of time, and I think that if it breaks above, if you're not in a trade already, 1.3220, your stop loss would be at a max of 30 pips. Your take profit could be 43. You would have it at 80 at the most. No, 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 no. You have it, you look at that level there. So you have it down at 43, 45 at the most. Right? This again, very topish. Very topish. So you want to be careful on that because if you look at this, this was the point it reversed from. I don't need that. Take it that way. This was the point it reversed from. That was the area where it turned back down from. Actually, let's take on a different approach because what I'm looking at here, based on what I've seen since the end of August, if we go to H4 time frame, right, this top here, that has broken a top before. Okay, so back to the current. Let's think of it as an alternative where what if the dollar or the pound dollar goes up, bounces around here, and then comes back down, right? So I'm not going to write it up in that fashion, but you're looking for it to test and reject. Then I might be looking to sell down below 1.32. Stop loss, I'll be thinking like at a max of 30 pips. My take profit could go down to 80 to the downside. Big move because it's a counter trend. That's what I'll be looking for. Um, but that's what I think as a bit of a counter trend kind of idea. Push up into this area where it could reject from here or here. In that area, look for it to come back down. Okay, so we've got Tam who said remove and Aussie yen. Okay, I'm taking your comments on board. Keep it coming. Let me know what do you think. Um, look for test and reject of resistance area. Sell 1.32. Stop loss 30. Take profit 80. To the count to the downside. And this is a counter trend. Hey, I can't type today. Counter, been typed too much. Trend. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, onto the euro. I was so keen on this. You know, yesterday again, this was before our session, during our session, right after our session. I was like, yes, it's going to break this 61.8. It's going to break that high. It's going to push up, and it hasn't done anything at all. Right? It just went up and set right across. Literally right across there is a 1.1120 and a max of 1.1140. It's like a 20 pip range since 5 o'clock yesterday. So we're almost in a 24-hour range of 40 pips. I'll keep it there. I'll keep that same view. I'll still be looking for 1.1145, 20 pip stop loss, 55 pip take profit to the upside towards that high. We've already got one counter trend. So I'll keep that buy 1.1145, stop loss 20, take profit 55 to the upside. Okay, good. Then onto euro pound. When I look for that buy, it pushes right back down. Now, if you look at this, euro could push up, pound, oh, euro could push up, pound, dollar sitting right across, but yet we're seeing the euro pound push back down. Now, from what I'm seeing, all that tails and shadows and all that, it looks like it's gonna, if it breaks below this point, it's pushing down. If it breaks below this point, we could see it break lower down towards the support, but I'm not keen on it to trade down. I'm looking for it to test the support, then we look for that bounce back up. Right, so we're looking for pound, euro pound to test 0.84 before maybe a bounce back up or break down. I don't think it will break down. I think it could bounce back up. So we look for that. Again, I think the votes are winning. We're looking that we're going to get rid of the Aussie Kiwi and the Euro Pound. We're going to replace it with something more interesting, more exciting. Okay. Now, yes, I can look at Pound CAD. Not a problem, for sure. All right. So now, then looking at the yen. Right, this was what we looked at yesterday. Um, at that point, I said it's going to sit there and then bounce down and break lower. It didn't happen, right? And as I kept the live stream running, I was looking for it. I said, okay, it's forming that pin bar here. It's going to push up, test that resistance, and turn down. It took a very long time, all the way through to this morning, where I came in, I saw that pin bar on that resistance. So I got into that trade. It pushed down. I thought, great, fantastic. It's going to come all the way down. Looking for that 100 pips, 110 pips before we jump on the live stream. And next moment it pushes back up. So I just went, we're just going to close out. I wasn't too keen on, though that was a bit of a speculative move. Didn't want to hold on to it. So closed out on just a few pips before break even on the US yen. Now, however, when you look at this in the bigger picture, hey Ahmed, how you doing? Good morning. When you look at this in the bigger picture, the channel is still working very well. Right? The channel is still working very well. It is still pushing to the downside. There is only that risk. There is the risk where we have a inverted head and shoulder potential at that resistance. That's why. Okay, so all these put together, a lot like the Aussie, the the Aussie, the Kiwi, the pound, the euro as well, quite close to a very strong resistance level, right? Showing like, hey, might reverse back down um, on dollar strength. That's why I'm thinking that we might just see a pop and then a quick reverse back on the dollar index. Still a little bit too early to try and make a guess of that now. Okay, same thing with the US yen. There is that inverted head and shoulder where it could very well reverse from this point. And you see that that move down, inverted head and shoulder, if it breaks past that resistance, it's got quite a good space to move up to. We're looking at that. 23 is right there. So you can see that 23 is right there. I don't need 142 now actually, right? So you're looking at that. If it breaks up, I would still love to sell yen down. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just thinking that if it breaks up 142, no 141.55, stop loss, you'll be looking at a 60 pip. Take profit, you have 180, you have 270 to the upside, right? So right in the middle there. So there is the inverted head and shoulder potential on the US yen, but you all know I don't trade just because of a chart pattern, but something to think about. Okay, if that's a counter trend move that you like, we have it there. I would still prefer to look for a. Let me move this aside. Let me think of how to move. I would still prefer to look for a trend following scenario. So I want it to break below these points to trade down. Be looking at that 140.28 dollar. If it breaks down from this point, if it stays within the range, it's gonna stay across. So I'm looking at, if it breaks down, then 140.10. Stop loss would be 30 pips at the most. Take profit, you would have 50 or 70 to the downside. No major news on yen. We have the yen policy on Friday as well, the BOJ policy on Friday as well. So that's going to be, they might disappoint. BOJ might disappoint. So I'll be looking at that. I'm still thinking of that, but might come down a bit before it bounces back up. We'll see. Okay, so there is that opportunity, that two opportunities on the yen. I'm just thinking which one to highlight. We'll put in both. I just can't ignore. I just cannot ignore that inverted head and shoulder opportunity. Inverted head and shoulder. And then we look to buy at no, looking to buy at 1.140 141.55, 61 to 60 to 180. 141.55, stop loss 60, take profit 180 to the upside. Then trend following, or we can look at trend following. We'll be looking to sell at, oh, what am I doing? 140.10, 30 to 70. Sell at 140.10, stop loss 30, take profit 70. There we go. Look at the dollar still pushing down, pushing that down. So I think I still like that trend following scenario. Then onto the euro yen. That didn't trigger, take that away. It bounced right off that support. That's broken. I don't need that for now. Push down, bounce. Remember on the euro dollar, it's pushing up. Pound dollar. Why is it pushing up now? No major news. Okay. So euro dollar is pushing up, yen is pushing down, hence the euro yen is sitting undecided. because it is sitting undecided, I would say that you look for it to come down, test that support, and then possibly bounce back up, driven by the euro, possibly by the euro. Um, I'll be very careful selling the euro yen further, just looking at the way it reacted at that support. Not saying that it cannot break, because the US yen did break lower from that August 5th level. So there is that downside potential, but euro yen got to be a little bit more careful as well. Okay. So euro yen downside test support at 155.30 for that bounce back up. Then onto pound yen again, did not see that. Pound dollar is holding that level a little bit, sitting right across. It's just all in the middle. It's just all right in the middle. I want to see it come down a little bit, but I'm thinking of that pushing up. US yen is dragging a little bit to the downside. I think that it's dragging lower, but it's going to be limited, right? I think that it's dragging lower, but it's going to be limited by that 185 level. Just at this point, at this 185 level. So maybe if you really wanted to, you can look for that to bounce up. I still would prefer to sell it down though. H4, how does H4 look? Yeah, it looks I got too many dotted lines there. I think that we don't need that one. And we're gonna see it push down. On the US yen dragging lower. Maybe pound dollar has a bit of a move and then could drag back down. What you could be looking. So we're just trying to spread the different scenarios. If the yen does drop lower, then you could even be looking at 184.65. Stop loss 60. Take profit, your hesitation level at 80. Yeah, take profit at 160 to the downside. With a continuation lower on the pound yen. Okay. Then onto the Swiss franc. Reynaldo was saying that he wants to short the Kiwi, the Swizzy down. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. It's taking a long time. It's getting there. It's broken that trend line. It's coming down to the 11th, well, last week's point. If it breaks past this level, I would say you can see that downside. I might give it a little bit more space and say 8420. Stop loss, I will put it at 30. Take profit, you can do 70. I think 45 would be reasonable for now. Okay, so 8420, still at 0.8420. Stop loss 20, 30, 30. Take profit 45. You could go in a little bit earlier, but I'll just urge a bit of caution there. There we go. Okay. Then onto the US CAD. range, 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 range. Because it's ranging so much, remember, tonight we have CAD CPI to be released. CAD CPI to be released. Might see some CAD weakness. Dollar retail sales number. Could see that dollar weakness. Gonna bounce around. I think it'll stay in the range. I think it's gonna stay in this range. I don't think it's gonna do too much yet. So I think that CAD is likely to stay within this range, ranging from 1.3565 and 1.36. Ranging 1.3565 and 1.36. Okay. Then I think it's gonna stay in that range because what I think could happen is CAD weakness could push it up, then dollar weakness could push it back down. It has that 1.36 strong resistance there, so it's going to provide some resistance as well. It's going to stay within that range. Then FOMC on Thursday might give it a clearer directional push. So for now, I think that CAD likely to stay within that range. Then on to gold, right? We were talking about this. Could come down to this range, needs to stay above 25.70 to trade higher. It came down. When it came down, this was yesterday at 6. I thought, oh, brilliant, it's coming down. Let me do that. Okay. It was coming down, and I thought, great, come down to this point. I would love to buy it up. The next moment, it stops and it pushes right up. I didn't get into those trades this afternoon. We were talking about it on Discord. So I saw that push up. I did do a quick trade on gold to the upside. Quick scalping one. It's in this range. What I think could happen, it's currently at 25.84 right now, right? So gold currently at 25.84. I'm looking for it to trade, could trade higher to 2600, but at 2600, I would be very careful with the possible thinking. There's no reason apart from I'm just looking at a round number, thinking that it could push up and then turn back down from there. Right. The thing about gold right now is it's a very technical play. There was no major reason for it to have pushed that much, that high. So I think that you know it's a matter. It feels like it's a matter of time before it test one level, and then there's all the orders there, stop loss orders, entry orders, speculative counter trend orders, and then we see that push all the way back down. But for now, I think it's going to consolidate and a small gradual move towards 2600. But this range is going to maintain for now. Okay, then on to pound CAD. Wow, haven't looked at this for a while. We did well in August on that. It's pushed right up. Let me clear out some of these lines or order lines. It's pushed right up. Pound, dollar showing like it might push higher. CAD is holding. So because the CAD is sitting right across, push to the upside on pound, is going to drag the pound CAD higher up. But I'm just thinking now at this level, I, I don't see, again, at this point, I don't see that it looks almost like gold. It looks almost like gold. I think that there is a small move up, but I think 1.8 might form a bit of a resistance when it's, if you look at it on the H4, it's just been pushing up all the way. Once it broke that level, it pushed up. I think that we might see it test, reject, back down. I don't like the counter trend on this, but trade it up to 1.8 and then look for the rejection back down. Rejection back down could come to, yeah, especially if it breaks that trend line, could come back down all the way. I don't see it coming back down all the way. I think that pound cat pound, it all comes down to what this guy's gonna do. If it really does test this area and reject, firstly, I'll be very happy to sell the pound down. Um, that would drag the pound cat all the way down. Then if the cat stays in this area, yeah, then you drag the pound cat down. Diana is just saying that I'm looking to buy, but I need retracement down to 1.7912. 7912, it's about here. I don't think so. You say H4? Yeah. I know why you're highlighting that area. I think it might sit across. I'm actually thinking it's just gonna sit there, have a small push until 1.8, and then so what I think is gonna happen is do that, test, reject, come back down, and then do that, and then back up again. So it might go up, you might miss that first move up, but if it comes back down to that 1.7912 level, it might turn back up. I'll be very careful. I wouldn't advise a counter trend move on this, unless the pound dollar has that big move back down. Okay, does that make sense? That's a good one. That's a tricky one on the pound cat. A very tricky one, I would say. Then gold is sitting, no worries, Diana. Sitting right there. Cat still doing the same thing. Squeezy retrace slightly. Pound yen up. Euro yen up. US yen retraced. That's actually forming to be a very interesting setup. Euro pound test, looking test and reject. Euro dollar. I don't want to jinx it. But I think euro dollar might be one to push up, like what we saw from yesterday. Pound dollar pushing higher. Aussie and Kiwi as well to the upside. There are a couple of opportunities here to look out for. So please trade well, trade safe. I don't think we'll keep the stream running. I think it's going to be a little bit slow. I think that we've got our setups. I think it's going to be a little bit slow. No major news coming out until 8:30. So please trade well, trade safe. Thank you, Jumarinas. I'll see you all tomorrow. And if you haven't already, make sure you join the Elite Navigator. We're going to be trading live together across 3 different news events. Take care now.